Hello and welcome back to Tech Forge, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My name's Nathan. Today we're going to be having a look at a cheap RGB gaming keyboard and mouse combo. P.S. It's by ThermalTake. Stay tuned. So allow me to introduce you to the TT Esports Challenger Prime RGB, goddamn, stupid, ridiculously long name. Let me introduce to you the ThermalTake TT Esports Challenger Prime RGB gaming mouse and keyboard combo. Mouthful. I personally paid 89 of my own dollary dues around about 12 months ago, but you can find them today for around about 79 Australian dollars, or what is it, 58 United States freedom bucks? Buggin'! Now it's not just the RGB implementation that makes it a gaming combo. It has some of the more gaming oriented features such as macros, ones you can record on the fly. It has user profiles, you can adjust which keys do what, and of course anti-ghosting and rollover on the keys. So that's not a bad start. What about the mouse? Comes with 4 DPI settings at 400, 800, 1600 and 3200 DPI settings. So I'm sure somewhere in there's something that's right for you. The mouse runs off a Pixar Vago 3050 optical sensor and Omron switches, which are rated to 10 million clicks. There are 3 programmable shortcut buttons, 2 on the side, plus a clickable scroll wheel. And might I say, the scroll wheel is rubber coated and feels fantastic. In order to change the lighting on the mouse, which is of course independent from the software, you'll be using various buttons from the mouse itself. Using the DPI button in the center as a sort of command, you can use the DPI button and left click to switch the lights on and off. Using DPI and the side macro buttons, you can change the speed that the colors run through, from going faster by pushing the forward button and slower by pushing the back button. If you would like to set it to a static color of your choosing, you allow the color run to go through, hold the DPI button and click the scroll wheel when you're ready. To return it to color run, hold the DPI button again and click the scroll wheel. Voila! And now of course my thoughts on the combo. In the pros column, because let's start positive, is it is of course cheap. It's not going to break the bank. If you don't have a hell of a lot to spend, but you want something that's better than just your stocko keyboard and mouse, then hey, it fits the bill. For the money, of course, it is decently built. It's not going to blow you away in the build quality department, but it is perfectly serviceable. I absolutely adore the fact that the RGB lighting comes through the keycaps and illuminates the symbols on them, because I mostly game at night time, and that means I have a much easier time of figuring out what the hell I'm doing. There are of course plenty of macro functions and other functionalities in the keyboard. I personally don't use a lot of that sort of thing, but it is nice there for if one day I do, or if you are the sort of the person that does. And of course the mouse feels fantastic. It has its 4 DPI modes, it feels great in hand, it looks great, there's really not much to fault it. And of course the finishing touch, which is the braiding on the USB cables. It's not something that you'd really expect at this price point, but I really like that they've included it. Gives it that little bit of a premium feel. Now, of course, onto the cons. The whap whack. The keyboard has big flex in it. It's not something you're really going to notice while it's on the desk and you're using it, but if you pick it up and give it a little bit of a wiggle, there is a bit of flex. And you notice this, especially if you're in a cold room like my office, and you chuck a heater on. When the room warms up, the plastics expand and it creaks quite a bit as it does so. But of course, even more than that, the keyboard is huge. If you have limited desk space, there's a chance this won't fit. You really want to make sure you can fit this keyboard. You'd really want to make sure you can fit this keyboard on your desk before shelling out the cash. As much as I love the lighting also hotspots really badly, especially around the perimeter of the keyboard and especially under the spacebar. It's very noticeable at night, so I see it quite a lot. The keys themselves will not please mechanical keyboard users in the slightest. If you're even looking at this product as a replacement for a mechanical keyboard, let me just stop you right there and say this is not for you. This is not intended to even come close to the feel of a mechanical keyboard. It's a membrane keyboard, and it is a budget membrane keyboard. The keys themselves are quite widely spaced, and it's, I think, to let some of that RGB glow come up through. Now, that's fine for the aesthetic purposes, but because they're slightly further apart than a normal keyboard, if you've, say, used another keyboard at work or at school or just anywhere else, and you've gotten used to that spacing, when you come home to use it, you really have a little period of adjustment to get used to where your fingers need to be to hit the right keystrokes. And lastly, I'm a little bit annoyed at how sluggish the lighting software is. It can take quite a few seconds when you change the lighting in the software for it to actually take effect, and it has a little please wait icon, and you do quite a lot of waiting, and especially when you want to quickly change a color, have a look at the effect. No, don't like that, need to change it a little bit more. It can take up quite a lot of your time when you're fine tuning. So, in summary, the Challenger Prime Combo represents outstanding value. It's a cheap and easy way to get into gaming RGB peripherals. It looks quite nice, subjectively, and of course it has a lot of functionality for those who will use the macros and the key switching functions. The RGB is a little hit and miss. There are hits in the fact that you get it at this price point, and misses in the fact that it hotspots, and it of course has a little bit of a sluggishness to the software. Now, where the keys may let the package down a little bit, the mouse brings it back up. I really adore this mouse. I've used quite a lot of different mice over the years, and I'm just really comfortable with this one. The way it fits the hand, the way it feels in the hand, and of course the 4-way adjustable DPI means chances are you'll find a setting there that you're comfortable with. It does annoy me a little bit the way the keyboard and the mouse do have separate lighting functions. Of course, using the mouse to change the mouse lighting and the software to change the keyboard, it makes it very, very difficult if you're using a pulse or a spectrum run to get those colors lined up and sort of in some sort of coherent fashion. So for those who are on a budget and would rather spend more of their overall budget on mission critical components like a GPU, CPU, RAM, motherboard, all those sorts of things which will actually increase your gaming performance, then maybe that $100 to $150 is better off spent there and not on something like the keyboard, which is pretty much exactly the same reason I bought it in the first place. I wanted to spend money elsewhere and I needed something to get me by. And get me by it has, gosh darn it. So that's it for me, and that's it for the TT Esports Challenger Prime Gaming Keyboard and Mouse Combo. I've got to get on out of here. I've got to get started on moving the office to the spare room. This joint is a mess. It's too small, it's too cramped, so hopefully soon we'll have a new venue to come from. You'll have something maybe a little better looking behind us, something to sort of complement this and make this a little better. But stay tuned. We're going to have a whole bunch more videos coming out. Not sure what about yet. All I know is I've got to do them. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Kid.